What's up guys, UFC Fight Night just wrapped up, and I gotta say, it was a surprisingly solid card overall. Not every fight was a banger, but we got some wild knockouts, breakout performances, and a few moments that could shape the divisions going forward. As for my picks, I went 11 for 14. Not too bad at all. Now, let's break this whole thing down, starting from the top. So, the main event, Garry versus Carlston Harris protests. Let's be real, this one wasn't fireworks for most of the fight. Kinda tactical, a bit slow-paced, until we hit rounds 4 and 5. That's when Protests finally decided to let his hands go, and actually came close to winning the fight in the 5th. But Garry walked away with a unanimous decision, 4-8, 4-7. On 2 scorecards, and 49-46 on the 3rd. And honestly, he earned it. Garry's footwork was the key. He never stayed on the center line, which completely threw off Carlston's rhythm. He was just circling left and right all night, using lateral movement to avoid damage and pick his shots. Protests didn't really adjust until the 4th, when he started jabbing more and walking forward with urgency. But it was just too little, too late. Even in the 5th round, when he had Garry hurt, he didn't capitalize. Instead of swarming, he kind of coasted and tried to improve position. Not really what you want to do when the fight's slipping away. And shout out to Garry's gas tank. Even though he slowed down late, he still had more volume and stayed composed. What stood out the most to me is how Garry's developing into a fighter who just neutralizes his opponents. He did it with MVP, and now he's done it with Protests. Not always the most entertaining style, but it works. That said, Garry did react big when Protests landed. You could tell Carlston hits hard, but the volume just wasn't there. And that moment where Garry was circling off the cage and Protests didn't even try to cut him off, just let him walk away. That was wild. A huge missed opportunity. Also, what was going on with the timekeeping? The 4th round ended with 5 seconds still on the clock. And earlier in the night, Demir Latte stepped in to break up a guillotine. With 7 seconds left, something was off. But either way, it's a good win for Garry. Smart, technical, and calculated. And for his next fight, let's see him against Leon Edwards. It might not be a barn burner, but it would be a super technical, striking chess match. As for Protests, I think Jeff Neal would be the perfect next test. But if Protests doesn't up his volume, he's gonna lose to the top guys every time. Let's talk co-main. Young Ming Young just picked up his first ranked win with a 1st round finish over Anthony Smith. And let me tell you, this guy might have the best elbows in the light heavyweight division. He was slicing Smith up from every angle over the top, straight up the middle, hooks in close hand. It changed the entire fight. Once Smith started bleeding, you could tell something flipped. He got desperate, started diving for takedowns, lost his posture, and eventually got TKO'd with more elbows on the ground. Also, shout out to Jason Herzog for the great reffing. He gave Smith every chance to recover, but stepped in at the right moment. Jung looked phenomenal. Match him up with Alonzo Menefield next. That would be fireworks. Now, let's give some love to Anthony Smith. He flicked someone off after the fight, maybe. A fan, but he's officially retired now. And man, what a career. Fought John Jones for the title. Could have taken the DQ win and become champ, but chose to fight on. That's respect. Had great finishes, moved between middleweight and light, heavyweight, and even derailed guys like Vitor Petrino and gave them their first real test. Now he's got a solid analyst gig and hopefully a great future ahead. Next, David Onama outgrappled and outlasted Giga Chikadze in what turned out to be another example of MMA evolution. Giga had a great first round and nearly got the finish with slick striking, but Onama survived by mixing in the wrestling. From there, it was his fight. Ka just couldn't get back up once he was taken down. Onama even took the back at one point, despite being way too high, but Giga didn't react well and gave up a better position. Onama earned that win, and now he's probably cracking the rankings. I'd love to see him against Josh Emmett next. As for Giga, maybe run it back with Don Ige. That's still a great fight. Abus Magomedov beat Michel Pereira, but let's be real, it was a weird one. Abus looked ready to brawl in round 1, but Pereira, I don't know what he was doing. Low output, hesitant, almost like he forgot he was in a fight. He didn't really start throwing until round 2, and even then it was tame. Round 3, he coasted again. Either he was injured or still dealing with the mental effects of that loss to Anthony Hernandez. Either way, Abus gets the win, his 3rd in a row. Let's match him with Brendan Allen or Marvin Vettori. Vettori especially would test that cardio. Randy Brown versus Nicholas Dalby. This was wild. Dalby's been through wars and never been finished. Until now. Randy Brown broke his nose in the first, got dropped himself, and came back in the second with a beautiful right hook KO. That sequence was sick. Right knee into right hand, clean. Dalby was tough as hell, still trading despite breathing through his mouth. But Brown just had the reach, timing, and accuracy to close it out. Ikram Aliskerov also made a big statement. He knocked out Andre Muniz in the first round with a shot that didn't even look like a full power punch. Muniz got dazed, covered up, and Aliskerov swarmed for the finish. He looked sharp, calculated, and scary. Give this guy Paulo Costa next. That would be Chaos Power versus Power. Both guys hard to take down. It's a perfect matchup. Matt Schnell versus Jimmy Flick gave us an absolute grappling clinic. Reversals, guillotines, sweeps, just pure technique. Schnell looked amazing on the ground. That guillotine at the end of round 2. Super close. And there was a weird moment where the ref thought the round ended early again. More timing issues. Schnell took the decision. And honestly, I'm just glad he didn't retire. He's such a fun fighter against other GRAPPLERS. Evan Elder beat Gage Young clean 30-27 across the board. Young pressured but wasn't landing. Elder was just sharper, landing kicks to the body while leaning out of range. It was a good lesson in effective striking over octagon control. Chris Gutierrez outstruck Castaneda as expected. Those calf kicks are nasty, and he even dropped him with a left hand. Just more impactful strikes overall. Demon Blackshear continues to look like a serious future contender. Beautiful Muay Thai body kicks, round kicks, jabs, feints, defense. On point. He just needs one more big win, and he's probably ranked. Then Malcolm Wellmaker. Man, what a debut. His first round KO over Cameron Simon with a nasty lead right hook. Simon actually landed first, but had no power behind it. It's kind of been the story with him. He's skilled, but his punches don't do anything. Might need to move to flyweight or bulk up because guys are just walking through his shots. Jacqueline Amorim dominated Polyana Viana and finished her with a rear naked choke in round 2. And smooth submission work. Viana just didn't have the tools to stop her. Timothy Kwamba knocked out Roberto Romero with a nasty flying switch knee. Read the head movement perfectly, caught Romero ducking after the jab, and landed clean. Romero tried to get up like he wasn't hurt, but that was a walk-off KO. Beautiful stuff. And finally, Josiane Nunes knocks out Chelsea Chandler. Cornered her against the fence, landed a hook to the body, and then one to the chin. Clean finish. So overall, I'd give this card a solid 7 out of 10. Some finishes were elite. Some fights were just okay. But the pacing was solid, and we got some breakout names. Let me know in the comments, what was your favorite fight, favorite knockout? And who do you think should get the next big matchup after tonight? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.